Hey there, bookworms! Welcome to today's What I Read in August vlog. I read 8 books in August and I can't wait to share them with you. So if you're new here, welcome. I'm Ange. I'm your very casual librarian and I'm so glad you found me and you're going to join us. And if you're a returning bookworm, welcome home. So grab something warm to drink, snuggle up, grab a warm blanket, and let's talk books. The first book that I finished in August was Sarah Morgan's The Book Club Hotel. This is a book about 3 friends. There's Erica, Claudia and Anna, and every year they take a trip together as a book club to go to a hotel and spend their time reading and talking about books, which sounds absolutely amazing and what a great idea. Let's all do that. This year it's Erica's turn to choose where they go to have their book club meeting, and Erica chooses the Maple Sugar Inn, which is a hotel, and they arrive at the Maple Sugar Inn. Erica starts to behave a little bit strangely and we find out that there's an alternative motive that she had to choosing this particular location because this inn is owned by Hattie, and Erica's just found out that Hattie is her half-sister that she didn't know about. So this is a super cozy read. It was the perfect winter comfort read and it's booky as well, so extra points for that. It kind of reminded me a little bit of The Hooga Holiday by Rosie Blake. So if you liked that, you'll probably like this too, and it's a little bit Emily Henry in feel as well. So this is the first Sarah Morgan that I've ever read. I gave it 4 out of 5 and I'll probably read more of hers, I think. So the second book that I read in August was Secluded Cabin Sleep 6. That's a tongue twister. No, it's not. Why am I having so much trouble with that? So this is by Lisa Unger and it had all the elements of a perfect thriller for me. It wasn't too deep. There wasn't like any deep issues to think about with this book. It's just really spooky, and it's about 6 people that go to stay at a cabin, and this book has all the elements. It's got a secluded spooky cabin in the woods, it's got dark family secrets, it's got ghosts, it's got weird strangers, and it's got the tension and atmosphere of this building electrical storm that's coming through the whole plot of the book. I really enjoyed this for what it was. Like I said, it's not too deep, it's just a really good thriller with a great atmosphere. Reminds me a little bit of Riley Sager or Simone St. Thomas, both of whom I really enjoyed as well. I gave this a 5 out of 5 as far as thrillers go. It ticked all the boxes for me, and with October and Halloween coming up, it might be a really good one to put on your spooky Halloween TBR. So the third book that I finished in August was Emotional Female by Yumiko Kadota. This was such an eye-opener of a book, honestly. It's a biography, so it's a memoir of Yumiko's time as a student doctor working towards becoming a plastic surgeon in the Australian medical system, and this was just such an eye-opener. I think this is a really brave book to write because it really exposes the toxic atmosphere of medicine in Australia in being a junior in that field. You know, there's the sleeplessness that these people have to endure, the pressure, there's bigotry and exploitation and prejudice and misogyny, and it's all just kind of expected that these people have to endure this as some sort of hazing ritual to become good doctors. I don't know that trauma makes someone a better person necessarily, or makes them better qualified to be a doctor, that trauma and pressure and PTSD is going to make someone better at their profession. But that seems to be the accepted way, the thing that you have to endure to become a good doctor in Australia, which is very strange really when you think about it. And I really applaud Yumiko Yumiko for exposing that and being brave enough to write this. I can't believe her dedication. I can't believe her resilience and her single-mindedness and her determination to become a doctor, because I definitely could not have survived this system. It makes me sad to think that there's many good doctors who burn out and don't become good doctors because they have trauma, and the system kind of traumatizes them and spits them out, and they don't become doctors because of this environment that Yumiko describes in the book. So I really think this was an amazing read. I gave it 4 out of 5, and I don't know that enjoyed it is really the right word, but it was a really eye-opening read, and I'm glad I read it. The 4th book that I read in August was the Bookshop book by fellow YouTuber Jen Campbell. And this is the book that every bookworm, I think, secretly would love to be able to write. So I believe that Jen travelled all over the world over the course of years and has visited and researched a bunch of independent bookshops and has written each one as like a short little part of a chapter. The story of that bookshop and the people who run it, it's so wholesome, it's so inspiring, and I think every bookworm at some stage has dreamt of leaving their 9 to 5 and buying a bookshop and being a bookshop owner at some stage. I know I have. I think if you're a book lover, and if you're here you probably are, let's face it, if you're a bookworm you'd probably love this. I really enjoyed reading this, and I learnt so many cool facts as well. I gave this a 4 out of 5, and it was really good. Book number 4 and 5 for me in August, I picked up these graphic novels from the library. They're junior graphic novels, and they're the Lily Halfmoon series by Xavier, I'm going to say Bonet, and this is number 1 and number 2 in the series. I wish I'd found this as a young girl, because this is exactly the sort of book I would have loved as a kid. The world in this is absolutely amazing. This is about Lily, who she and her family move to a new town. She has to make new friends and go to a new school, and that's all very scary. And not only that, but she is discovering that strange things keep happening to her that she can't explain. So anyway, it turns out that when she goes to this new school, she meets 2 girls. She meets Gigi and Maid, and they straight away know what's happening to Lily. They straight away relate to her, and they introduce her to the school's magical school for witches, and Lily is becoming a witch. 2 things I absolutely loved about this series. Three things I loved about this series. I loved the art. The drawings were just beautiful, and they have these little fact pages about the world, and they also have a little bit of reality in them as well. So they have facts about history in the world. So this is like the Wheel of the Year page, pagan rituals and the pagan times of the year. The borders and the artwork in this are just gorgeous. If you can see there, the drawings are really sweet, and the characters are really beautifully drawn and magical. So here's a page about different types of creatures, and even things like the borders are just beautiful around the fact pages. I love that attention to detail. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Something else I loved about this book is the fact that the magical school is called the library. That's the name of the school, is the library. So when the girls go to hang out at the library after school, they're actually going to their magic school, which I thought was awesome, because all libraries are magic, let's face it. They're all magical schools, really. And the other thing that I really loved, and this just appealed to my sense of humour, is that one of Lily's friends, Gigi, she is described from the beginning as being a bit of a tech nerd and a tech whiz, and she's into STEM, and she's a girl who loves numbers and she loves engineering. And while all the other witches ride broomsticks, Gigi has made a Roomba into a hoverboard. And I just thought that was the best thing. How awesome is that? So while her friends all ride brooms, Gigi has a Roomba hoverboard. I loved these books. 5 out of 5 to the first one and 4 out of 5 to the second one, and I'd love to read more of them. That's Lily Halfmoon, The Witches' Council, and Lily Halfmoon, The Magic Gems by Xavier Bonet. So book number 7 that I read in August was Stories for Winter and Nights by the Fire. And this is a book of short stories by a number of female authors, all from the 20th century, so all from the 1900s. Every chapter is a different story by a different author. Although I really enjoyed each story, I have to admit here that I had a bit of personal bias, and I don't know if this will affect everybody, but it affected my enjoyment of this book. I love short stories, but I do find it easier when each story is written by the same person, because I personally find it really hard to jump between short stories, in that you have to kind of reset between each one and get your mind into a completely different world in every story and a different style. And for this one, I found that a bit difficult. So because each story is written by a completely different author with a completely different style, and then this overlay of the fact that they're vintage, so the language and the descriptions and the styles are a bit old-fashioned, I found this a bit tricky and hard to navigate the space between each story, if that makes sense. So that might not be the case for everyone. That's just me personally. I found that tricky. In saying that though, I did really enjoy the stories. I gave this a 3 out of 5 because of that, because I had that degree of difficulty which affected my enjoyment of the book. However, I really did enjoy each story, and it was a comfort read, and I always enjoy vintage stories anyway, so I really did actually like this. But yeah, just be aware that I found that degree of difficulty in this. The last book that I read in August that I just finished yesterday, I listened to it on audiobook to and from my work placement at the Trinity Leaper Library. So I'll put the cover here. And that was The Maid by Nita Prose. And this is number 1 in the Molly the Maid series. I didn't actually realize when I picked it up that it was the first in a series, so I don't know if I read the others. This book is about Molly, she's a maid in a huge hotel, and she takes a lot of pride in her job, and she's very proud of what she does and very good at what she does. But she's a bit of a tragic character in that she's been raised by her grandmother because of kind of tragic family circumstances, and because of that she really has had the experience of being around elderly people a lot and just being isolated with her gran quite a lot. So it's affected her social maturity. She's kind of a bit different from the other people in the hotel, and she's seen as a bit different because her mannerisms are quite old-fashioned like her grandmother, and she doesn't really know how to socialize like a young person because she's been around her grandmother and her grandmother only for such a long time. So it's left her a little bit naive and a bit isolated from her peers, which is, socially, which is really sad. However, she's quite a smart girl. She's not stupid. She's a bit naive, but she's very smart. Anyway, our story begins when something unusual happens at the hotel, and Molly finds herself caught up in a crime that occurs in the hotel. And because of her naivety and her trusting nature and her social awkwardness, she ends up getting taken advantage of in this situation. And it's about her trying to extract herself and work out what's going on in the hotel. It reminds me a little bit of The Queen's Gambit. It also reminds me a little bit of Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, with 2 books which I really enjoyed. So I did really enjoy this. I gave this a 4 out of 5 and I really enjoyed it, and I do wonder what's in store for the rest of the series. So that's everything I read in August. I have some amazing books on my TBR for September. I can't wait to get into those. And I only have, to date, I have 3 more days work placement at the Leaper Library at Trinity College, which makes me so sad because I've so enjoyed my time there. Heather and the librarians there have been so welcoming, and I have learnt so much on this work placement. I'll be really sad to not be going there every Thursday anymore. I'm not looking forward to that, actually. Comment down below what your plans are for September and what's on your TBR. I have a big September TBR. I mean, my whole shelf here is a TBR, honestly. And there's some books here that I can't wait to pick up. So September's looking really good book-wise. Not only that, but we've got a little weekend away booked for September as well in the September school holidays, so really looking forward to that as well. We could all use a getaway at the moment. That 3rd term itis at school has really kicked in for us. We're all exhausted. I hope you're doing something kind for yourself today and taking breaks when you need it, bookworms. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and send all your bookworm friends this way so they can chat with us about books and we can build this community and chat books in the comments below as well. I love reading your comments. Makes my day to read them after my videos go up. So I'm going to go and got to make a fresh cup of tea because this is going a bit cold. English breakfast though, it went with the mug. So take care of yourselves, bookworms, and I'll catch you in the next vlog. Mwah!